it's the Johnsons, and we're back for our second installment of Johnson's Take Two. And tonight we're going to talk about communication.
So, after the last episode, Kess and I had a talk, and she told me I was kind of robotic. Anyway, I'm going to be more of myself now. Let my personality show, but I am serious. I'm serious. It's from the heart. May be funny, but it's from the heart. But first, I want to talk about how this relationship kind of got rolling. And I won't go into all the details because I don't want y'all to know how sprung she was, but I'll just give y'all a little. What's funny, honey? We being serious.
Sprung?
Yes. Anyway, back I was saying, we're going to keep her safe, at least through this episode. So,
You know what they always say. There's always three stories, right? There's three stories to this thing. Is his story, my story, and the truth is what they say. What we say, we always will be telling the truth, right?
Herein lies the truth. So, this one particular service, I had on an outfit, which you'll see. It was green and orange. But I remember her coming to me to do our offering, swipe her card. I think she had a Lone Star card or something. It's kind of hard to keep up with. But anyway,
Hey, do what you gotta do.
she said, "Oh, you clean up well." I was like, okay." So I can't remember, honey. I have to refresh my memory if there was an inbox or was it a text?
Certainly wasn't a text.
Okay.
It was more along the lines of Facebook because you so vainly posted your picture on Facebook
And what did
with
you
this
say?
orange and green on, and I was like, Sprite, alright, you know.
So I said, "Obey your thirst."
Now that was in the text. You text that to me. You did not put that on Facebook.
But it was a private conversation, so I'm saying inbox. I'm not saying we was on each other's walls just going hard about our
No,
relationship.
no, but you text me, obey your thirst.
Okay. I text her, "Obey your thirst."
Being submissive already, he ain't even my husband.
So we talked a little bit and asked her did she want to put in the application, and she accepted. So she went through the interview process. I ran a background check, credit scores. Needless to say, I had to look past all that stuff. And
Anybody else had the same application, please give me a call, 214-695.
Stop.
I want to know how many applications was out there.
Well, the interview process was pretty rough. You can't just interview one candidate and go, "Yeah, that's who we going with."
So you were just putting them in, huh?
Anyway, but that's basically how it got started, and ever since then she's been sprung. But anyway, I wanted to talk about one of the important keys to marriage, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of others. Communication. Just like a house key or a house key ring that you may have has several rings on it. Keys, rather. Excuse me. And there's one key on there in particular, which is the house key. And it opens up the door to have full access to the home. And once you utilize that key, you get access to the living room, the kitchen, bedrooms, the whole 9 yards. In a marriage, that key is communication. And communication, when it's used properly, opens up every avenue in the marriage. She's adjusted me. I don't know why.
Because you cut the top of your head off in the video.
Well,
I'm just trying to help you because I'm your
but
friend.
my head is pretty big, so it's gonna spear off this screen.
Well,
anyway.
that's true. So that's why I do what I can to fix that.
Your mama is probably not watching this video.
I hope she ain't watching this video. Or you just gonna still be
Anyway,
Brother Anthony.
to my brother and my sister that may be watching, it was a joke. Love
Gotcha.
y'all. Anyway, back to the real. Uh, in the beginning, when we communicated, I thought we was doing pretty good. But obviously, as time went on, I realized that I wasn't communicating as well as I possibly could. Um, I wasn't talking like I thought I was talking because Kessa would tell me, "Hey, you're not talking to me," and I'm like, what do you mean? So I found out I wasn't talking because I would get put on the stand and I would get grilled. I would get asked so many questions
I don't remember that.
all the times because I wouldn't open up to you.
Oh, the random questions.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
stuff that still goes on to this day.
Yes, exactly. I totally agree. We could be talking about something totally out the wall about, hey, let's plan this vacation. You know, uh, what date you want to go? Oh, let's just say somewhere September. That seems to be good. And then out of nowhere she goes, so how many girlfriends have you had? Where did that come from? Jeez. I don't understand.
Well, listen, as any woman, any real woman in a relationship, in a marriage, or whatever, you don't want to be broadsided by people's past and things that happen because we know women can be messy. Women can be messy. And when anybody see you happy and see you going on with your life and just kind of going on with it and doing your thing, sometimes people want to crop back up, say, hey, well, he was mine too, and dang, he dated everybody at the church, or dang, he did so and so, he finally got married, he finally got caught up, all that kind of stuff come up, and people like to bring that stuff up to you. So I don't like that. I don't like drama. I'm allergic to it. So tell me, because I can deal with it better. It may be the truth, it may be a lie, but I can deal with it. But I can say, oh, I knew that before time. I knew that going into this. So what?
Let that be her excuse.
So how many girlfriends did you have?
Have you seen the calculator?
We don't need a calculator.
So, part of communication is being painfully open at times. When I say painfully, to where it hurts. There's a lot of times where I might not want to tell her certain things, but we made an agreement to one another that we will always share our feelings and our concerns, even if it hurts. There were some times where we held back from saying certain things because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, or she didn't want to hurt my feelings. But we promised that we would be completely open and honest with each other, and it's still a work in progress. We're not where we were.
Yeah, we've definitely made a lot of progress, I could say. I think too the main thing is when you remain open and vulnerable. And I've said this before. I've talked to some young ladies about this before. When you're open like that in your communication, you become vulnerable to each other, and in that vulnerability is when you find the deepest intimacy in your relationship. And not only that, you can also find yourself leaving those things from the past in the past, because when you talk about it, you kind of release whatever it was that's had you bound, or whatever it was that's hurt you, and then you don't have to use that same thing and bring it into your relationship now and hurt the person that you're with now. And so the more I think that you talk about it and you put it out there and it's there, it's not something that becomes a judgmental state, or it's not something that you keep tripping over because this is the way it was before. I think that's when the healing process can begin, is when you're actually able to openly talk about things and one another on a different level. One another in that very intimate inner being, which is the the epitome of salvation and Jesus Christ, the way he does us as a people, as a church, the more intimate that we become with him, the more vulnerable we become with him, the more of him that we become, the more we are able to know of him, and we're able to understand the way things go when you're talking about church and when you're talking about Christ. We can understand more spiritually how that works, and how we're able to find ourselves more connected to Christ. That same communication in your marriage helps you find yourself become more connected to one another.
Um, it's the communication is also an adjustment. Uh, we're not the same, so when it comes to communicate, we have to adjust and find that middle ground. We talk a lot. I mean, a lot. Like, like sometimes on the way to work in the morning, not all the time, but sometimes on the way to work. Throughout the day, we're communicating by text. Sometimes on the way home. And just to give you a little input, my drive to work or from work is an hour, sometimes more than an hour. And sometimes I get in the car and I'll talk to her till I get all the way home. And the conversation picks up from there. It's funny because sometimes uh, I'm I pull in the garage and you know she may not be here. She may be around the corner, and she'll pull in at the same time. And I'm in the garage and she's in the driveway. We're still on the phone talking, and I have to hang up in the face because we'll talk all the way to the room, which is kind of funny.
Well, I think you kind of spoiled me a little bit to that. Because while we were dating, when he got off of work, who was the first person he called? I wasn't even off yet. Oh, babe, you off work? No, I'm still working. Oh, well, I'll call you back. And if I say, yeah, call me back in 10 minutes, he called me back in 10 minutes. Every single day. On his lunch break, he would call me. So I kind of became spoiled to our way of communication, but I really found it very important that we were able to talk about everything that goes on in our lives, that we were able to express ourselves. One thing I've said before is, contrary to what a lot of people believe, I wasn't a big talker when I was coming up. I was very quiet, very shy. I whispered to my mom if I wanted something to drink. So I wasn't a huge talker. But, even in my relationship, prior to him and coming into a relationship with him, there were certain things that I felt like if it hurt my feelings, or if it rubbed me the wrong way, or if I didn't like it, I wouldn't talk about it, because I felt like, okay, it's not going to change. It's going to be the same thing. Nobody changes. Nobody does anything according to how anybody else feels. So what's the point? And that was my way of thinking. So if there was an issue, I just didn't say nothing, and I didn't want to be looked at as like, no, that's wrong, or don't, you shouldn't think like that, or that's stupid, or that's crazy. So I didn't ever want to feel like that, so I wouldn't say anything. Well, he dealt with it for a little while until it was to that point to where we knew that this relationship was going to go to a different level. We knew that we were meant to be together. So when we got to that point, it was like I had no other choice. I had to open up to him, because he told me, he said, well, okay, well, now that we went from this zone to this zone, you can't do that to me anymore. You have to tell me now what's going on with you, because I have to understand you. This is my way of understanding you. And so if it was something he said that hurt my feelings, or if it made me feel some kind of way, I had to tell him, even though I didn't want to. But it's like working out. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And so the more I was able to open up to him, and I felt more comfortable talking about whatever it was that was bothering me, the easier it became for me to be able to say certain things. Even now, so every now and then I'll still struggle with saying certain things, because it seems like, be honest with you, it sounds like a broken record. It's like going over the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So I may not say anything, but then he still comes back and say, you still have to tell me what's wrong with you, no matter what. Doesn't matter how you feel about it. Doesn't matter what you think. You still have to talk to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And then I'll eventually tell him, what the problem is, and vice versa. I expect that out of him, so I have to give that to him as well.
One thing that there's a part of communication that we kind of touch bases on today is knowing each other the way we do because of communication in this short time. You kind of see things in a typical marriage to where you can tell when something's going on with me, myself, and her as well. And you'd be like, "Honey, what's wrong?" "Oh, nothing." "Yeah, it is something wrong." "No, no, I'm fine." But it is. And at that moment, myself guilty as well. You just don't kind of want to go down that road, or maybe it's not the right time, but as I said, it's getting better. We still work through those things. We communicate more, and we're going to get ready to wrap this up. But I want to say that she has helped me a lot in communicating effectively. We still compete for one another's love, even though we've been married this time. We're still on a honeymoon. We still send flirts by text. We still communicate in a lot of different ways to keep things fresh, because we don't ever want our love to grow stale. So in closing, I just want to give a shout out to one of my friends. Why you smiling, honey? I don't get it.
Because I just know this face means something dumb is about to happen. See, communication. I know this face is about to be something foolish.
I just want to close and talk about marriage and communication in marriage.
Okay.
In a tribute to my friend.
Yes, sir. You got it.
My friend Charlie. This is for you, Charlie. Communication is the key. Let's go, fellas. Let's do it. Ah!
My husband is dumb.